So guys, I've just left, we're a product company. We've always been about making your data talk, about building fabulous products for you guys, the people that are joining us here today. I've just come in from a party. We've got a party going on. Here's the balloons. I don't know if you can see that. If you have a look on LinkedIn right now, you'll see a small video of Martin, our CEO, cutting a cake. And we're really, really excited. Vizlib Live, a lot of the team have been behind this in launching our 6th product. And that's critical for us. And I think here's the thing, you know, as we move to the cloud, as architectures, as data architectures change, we can, you know, there are other benefits. But we know, obviously, that with the architecture around Qlik and in memory, that associative engine, the ability to be able to combine maybe a little bit of best of both worlds. So that's a theme you'll hear a little bit about. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce Michael, who's of course our product expert, our head of Qlik Products. My name's Al. I'm look after product marketing. Our agenda. What we'll do, we'll get to Michael very, very quickly. But why? Why have we delivered our 6th product? Why? Why now? Why we delivered and launched Vizlib Live from today? We want to talk about the kind of use cases, so how we think you benefit the best, and the bit that I know we all enjoy. So we'll set Michael to a hands-on demo. Key is getting started. We want to talk to you a little bit later about some masterclasses and hands-on decks. We don't want you guys just to download and not use Vizlib Live. We very much want a hands-on. But at that point, the final thing for me to remind everyone is, let's challenge Michael. So far, we've worked together for 1.5 years, Michael, and we've not yet given you a question you can't answer. Let's see if we can do that. So please, it's today's live. It's interactive. Please get questions. If you've got any questions, burning questions, get those to us. But at that point, Michael, over to you.
Thank you very much. So just to get started with this live, we need to do a bit of background. I'm not going to bore you with a long story, but just sort of explain where we are, why we're here. Vizlib has been housing Qlik for a long time now. It started with the visualizations in the Vizlib library. We unlocked the full potential of Qlik by adding more alternatives for developers and designers to do exactly what they wanted. Then we added the capabilities of self-service, which many of our customers now have the custom report as sort of the default thing in all their applications. Super useful to explore the data without too much knowledge. Then we added finance, which makes it much quicker, much easier to implement P&Ls, balance sheets, cash flow reports into your BI solution. And actually, what sold BI to the finance department was very much the look and feel of the finance report. Then we added Gantt, obviously related to project management, how we were able to beautifully visualize all those Excel spreadsheets that people were using in their projects, and with those visualizations, make it possible to use Qlik Sense in project management. The latest one we added was collaboration. So last but not least, I guess we could say, we brought the functionality of chatting inside Qlik Sense about the items inside Qlik, as well as the write-back solutions. So being able to write back data to perhaps not your ERP system directly, you could, but you probably wouldn't, but writing back to other files and sort of completing the whole visualization to analysis to feedback of data. So WriteBack is currently our fastest growing product and something that we're really proud of, since it opens up so many possibilities where we've only scratched the surface so far. And our customers are now pushing that to its limits, which is really, really cool. Now, with the need, as Al mentioned, the need for real-time data and cloud having more of the data, such as Snowflake, Google BigQuery, Dremio, storing a lot of the data and handling a lot of the data. Also, a lot of our customers having as a strategy to move to the cloud, both their BI and their data. We saw that there was a need to help users in Qlik to have easy access to that live cloud data. And this is exactly what we're doing with Vizlib Live. We're combining the power of cloud data with the speed of in-memory analysis and bringing it all into one. Looking back at a little bit, taking one step back and looking at the technology advantages and what we have in the market now, and that is obviously the Qlik platform, the in-memory BI. It's great and it's super fast in-memory technology where we can do those beautiful dashboards, we can do data analytics, and some really complicated guided analytics use cases. Set up right, this will also give you a really low cost per query, and it enables the self-service and data exploration in a beautiful way, especially obviously with using the custom report. The modern cloud platforms such as Snowflake have other advantages. The elasticity and scalability of those platforms is unparalleled, and we see that we have easier access to things like machine learning and artificial intelligence solutions that we can combine with our analysis to make better decisions. Also, the data is typically centralized somewhere in one data storage where there is no need for data replication. And it also means that we can access data more in real time than we otherwise would. So when we combine that, we get what we call the best of two worlds in Vizlib Live. I'll soon demo, but first to sort of go through the use cases that we think that we have. And obviously there can be more of these use cases. The first one we see is that we solve the situation where you want to blend data in Qlik with cloud data from, for example, Snowflake. You want to be able to do this while maintaining the Qlik functionality and without moving the data out of Snowflake, which otherwise would be difficult, but is something that we can solve with Vizlib Live. This also means that you can access near real-time data because we're accessing the data where it sits in Snowflake without reloading or leaving Qlik. That means that we can do new interesting solutions when we combine this, and imagine what we could do with write back and closing the loop around data input and analysis inside Qlik Sense. With Qlik, we can handle large volumes of data, but sometimes we end up in a situation where it's practically not possible to use that data in Qlik. Especially we have this limitation when it comes to Qlik Saas, where there is actually physical limits to how big the data sets can be. What we enable here is the possibility to use Qlik for the analysis that you can do in Qlik, and then at the same time query a huge data set sitting in a Snowflake database. This makes it a very efficient solution. So we can do some of it in Qlik and some of it in the big database, which means that we don't have to move all that data into Qlik, but still have it accessible there. Another use case, which I didn't really think about, but which came up in conversations with our customers, is that it also helps us a lot with the access to sensitive data, where pushing, and this came up with healthcare customers, where it's kind of difficult to sort of control the access to data when we're putting it through an ETL process and perhaps distributing it. Instead, if we can leave the data where it is and access it there, it's easier for us to actually have control over who has access to that data and track when they do get access. We can also do some really interesting rapid prototyping of cloud data without the need to actually pull all the data that we have in Qlik into the cloud. So we might have some data left in Qlik. We have some data that's in the new sort of cloud database that we have. And this way we can still do prototyping and test how they work together without actually having to combine them or duplicate the data. And of course, this can all be done with beautiful visualizations, no coding, and the way that you're used to with all the different settings in Vizlib. Now, demo time. So let me just pick up a couple of the applications that we have. And I'm going to demo two different applications. I'm going to do one example for which will help you understand how big data could be accessed. And I'm going to do one example that is more related to the online real-time access of data. So we're going to start with an example of an inventory app. And the use case that we have here is, let's say that we have a very big company. It could be a retail company. It could actually be a manufacturing company. Let's say it's a retail one that has a lot of sales, but also a huge amount of inventory and hundreds of thousands of different products across multiple warehouses across the world. Pulling all those billions and billions of rows into Qlik to see all the data transactions would obviously be difficult. So we can't really do that, but we still want to analyze the data, and that we can do in Qlik. So let's say that we have this Qlik app. We perhaps select one clothing line. We see that we have a sales drop here. We will select a normal selection, and we'll look at part of the time, see what happened here, because we do have a sales drop here. The sales decreased quite significantly. Sales looks good. Let's say that our inventory actually looks good currently. We have things on stock. But what we can do now, and this is where it gets really interesting, is that we can see things in combination. So what you're actually seeing on the screen now is that the top part with these KPIs and the toolbar here for the selections, this is Qlik. Everything below where my cursor is now is actually Vizlib Live and connecting and getting data directly from Snowflake. So all this below here was updated in real time, but it relates to the selections. As you can see, clothing was selected here. That is actually also selected now in this data set. And also, if we select, for example, just one product here, so you can see how this actually has an impact. We select one product, select 224, and obviously then these two charts that show the other products don't show anymore, which is good. And we'll see the daily log for these products. Now, the interesting thing is that we will also see all the different transactions happening for that individual product. And we'll see that we at some point here had 0 units available. This means that for these transactions, these points in time, we had problems because we weren't able to deliver because we didn't have anything in stock. Nothing in our inventory, which means that this is the reason why we had that sales drop, because we didn't have anything in stock. And we could see that on an individual transaction level. This way we can feed this back and take it back to whoever responsible for this to see that, oh, actually we changed how we get things into to our warehouses, and we can take a closer look at that. Just a few tiny details on how this works. So we set this up with connecting any fields in Qlik to any fields in the Snowflake data. In this case, we've selected to do transaction date, product name, and product key, and connecting those 3 fields are the ones that are connected. So when I selected the product key, that filtering happens on the Snowflake data as well. And the same thing, obviously, for the transaction dates, because we can see exactly where we were in time. So as simple as that. If we take a look at one more example, the other one that we have is we call this telehealth. The background to this data is that this is an online doctor. So you would call in, you would get help with whatever ails you. So whatever condition you have, you call in and you want to talk to a doctor and get some consulting on what you could do with that, or if you should seek further help. So it's an online doctor facility. What they are interested in seeing is both what's happening in terms of statistics. So obviously want to be able to analyze and look closer at what has been going on, such as how many calls have we had, what are the first-time callers, how many are they, what is the satisfaction score, all those normal statistics. They want to be able to see that and take a closer look at it. But they also want things that are very recent. So, for example, seeing the recent calls activity. So if we did this in pure Qlik, we would only get the things that have gone through the ETL process, or if we reloaded Qlik, we could get relatively updated. But in this case, it makes it really simple because we can actually get everything and we can get it updated. So if we look at this, obviously, if I make selections here, everything gets selected. And as you saw now, perhaps down here, if I select a couple less here, we might only look at Domingo here. Then we only get the last calls for him. So we can drill down into the data, but we can also see exactly what he's been doing right now. So very up-to-date data live. In this case, this part down here is Vizlib Live, and the rest of the things that we're looking at is Qlik Sense. But again, it's connected. In this case, we connected it through the assigned provider, the call condition, and the appointment type. So in this case, if we want to see only the consult cases that he had, then we select consult and we only get the appointment type of consult. And when we deselect these, obviously the charts update again. So both for getting that recent call activity, but also perhaps for doing something even more live, which might be like a monitor. What's going on now? What calls do we actually have currently in the queue right now? Right now we have Donald Kramer waiting. He's been waiting for 4 minutes. We have Sarah who's been waiting for 4 minutes. So we can see what the current status of the queue is, rather than having to sort of load this data in and look at it later. We can see what's actually happening right now. And as you will see, we can of course still make selections in Qlik, and it filters on the Snowflake data, getting the real time update from Snowflake. So we now looked at 2 different examples. The first one here, the first one that we looked at was the use case with inventory and manufacturing, showcasing that perhaps this is a really good idea to do around big data and larger data volumes. And then we looked at the other one where we looked closer at how can we do real-time or very near real-time updates of data inside Qlik Sense. So hopefully this shows you a little bit of what we can do. And I'm just going to show you the other side of this, because obviously there is there's a bit of another aspect of this, and that's the whole construction of these dashboards and visualizations that you see. And those happen partly in Qlik, and then we use another tool which we call a Strato to actually be able to do to create the dashboards and do the visualizations themselves. And I'm just starting up a Strato here in the background if you're wondering what I'm doing. For example, here we have a full dashboard of data that we've created in a Strato. And obviously this is completely customizable. So you can customize these charts. You see here how you have different types of charts with filters, bar charts, pie charts. So you get that full rich experience, and super easy to do as well. We just change everything around inside a Strato and then pull it out to Qlik Sense. And we do that by doing what we call an embed link. So if we wanted to embed this particular object, we would just say that, hey, we want an embed link for this object. We get that, and then we could, in this case, we can do it for everyone. And then actually we just get this little link, and we copy the link and then insert that into Qlik Sense in Vizlib Live, and we're linking to that object. If we wanted to do a group of objects, like these 3 objects, we just group them together and export and create the embed link for the group, or we can do this whole sheet inside Qlik Sense. So Strato is what we're using for the actual editing of the charts that go in, and then inside Qlik, what we do is that we have an object, and we have a Vizlib Live object. Now, I told you the data was connected, so we had provider, call condition, etc. What we do is that we have the assigned provider, and we say that this is actually connected to the schema account usage, the view calls, and the field assigned provider on the Snowflake side. And this is basically all the settings that we have to do, and then we say that we should include, so how it should connect. That's it. That's kind of all the settings that we're doing on the Qlik side. So it's relatively simple here. There's not too many settings or too many things to do. The URL that I was talking about that we copy from Strato, that's what we paste in here. Once we've done that, we just connect the different fields and we're done. And after this webinar, you will also get a follow-up email, and in that follow-up email, you will also get the link to our Getting Started video where we go into that process a little bit more in detail. So I'm not going to get too stuck on all the details of exactly how Vizlib Live works and how you get started, but that part comes there. So you'll be able to follow that, the instructions, the video, and the documentation that we have. Okay, now let's see where we are in the presentation. We are here. So just to summarize a bit. So we support the journey to cloud data. That's kind of what we're thinking. We're thinking that most of the customers now are in a process where we're starting to add data to our cloud databases, such as Snowflake, Dremio, Google BigQuery. And what we want to do is create that bridge where you can actually keep using in-memory solutions in Qlik and combine it with the data that you have in your cloud databases. Because otherwise what we would see a disconnect between sort of the new things that end up in the cloud database and the old things that get stuck in Qlik, where we want this to be an easy transition to sort of moving things to the cloud. And that goes for both moving things to the Qlik cloud, since this works both on Qlik Enterprise and Qlik Saas, means that you can use it even on your journey to the Qlik cloud and on your journey to adding more data into whatever cloud data solution that you're doing. We recognize that obviously you're not going to just move everything from your local environment to the cloud all at once and it'll be done. It's not that simple. This is a longer process, and for many companies, this is a process that goes across many years. So supporting that journey to accessing cloud data is what we want to do, and that gives you that access and creating the best of two worlds. So that is the summary. That is the main things. We're going to go through the questions. I see indications that we do have quite a lot of questions coming up. So I don't know, Al, have you started looking at those already and have something to throw at me?
I've started like looking at them, and I think I certainly like the way that that the audience today, people that have joined us, our customers today, are thinking about the product and making them think. And I think I'll give a couple of minutes for that to come through, but or a couple more questions to come through, and then Michael will start getting those across. I think the other thing is I also had a look, Michael, at who joined us today, and I think actually the idea for Vizlib Live came from maybe someone that was out in Poznan, a development center with, it was actually a customer and a consultant, and I see a couple of, we actually had a beta launch to test this, Vizlib Live out, and a couple of customers that actually signed up. I know we've got the official launch here, are on the call today, so that's really lovely to see. But at that point, yes, let's jump straight onto those questions now. So, Michael, I'm going to start with, actually, I'm going to go, so anonymous, but I like this question. So much of the cost of Snowflake comes from compute power, which could skyrocket in a live connection. I was at Snowflake's conference last year, Michael, and the longest queue there was around monitoring and making sure that consumption, that was the longest queue for a talk. So to finish off with the question, could you go into more detail about the technical query process of Vizlib Live to avoid high processing costs?
So actually, this is one of the cool things, right? Because what you can do here is you can combine, for one, when we're looking at sort of what we use for the Snowflake bit, the Strata bits, we have quite a bit of optimization going on in there to make sure that we can do that as efficiently as possible. But the main thing here with Vizlib Live is that you can choose where you want to process your data. So all those calculations that you do in perhaps when exploring data and things that you already have in Qlik Sense, you can typically get a low cost on the per transaction or per query on those. So the best way to control it with Vizlib Live is to make sure that you have some data in Qlik, which is efficient to have there, and then you have other data in Snowflake, which might be more efficient to keep there. So for example, data that you don't query that often. You don't want to go through the process of running that through the ETL process all the time. You want to keep it inside Snowflake. But the other data, which is perhaps not used more often, or perhaps smaller, when you make those quick queries, then you can have that in Qlik. So you can optimize your cost by choosing where to put different types of analysis.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very interesting because, Michael, we sat and we talked a lot internally about positioning, how we're going to describe the Vizlib Live and the positioning that we had. And actually, we kept on coming back to the best of both worlds. The fact that when we look at we're a Qlik Vizlib, a Qlik extension company. We love Qlik. Our founder loves Qlik. Well, I remember listening to his talk last year. But that ability for near real time and live querying, I'm going to jump straight in, Michael. I almost want to take this one, but I'm going to give it to you. Is Live a heavy tool? Are there any minimum requirements of memory for QS servers? I'm thinking about performance.
So the extension itself is super light, and the Strato bit that connects to Snowflake, that's hosted by us. That's a Saas product. So no, that means the requirements here are very small, because you would really only add basically a frame with data that's added to your sheet. So super small requirements on that front. So
yeah. I've actually, I actually heard someone from Snowflake and themselves talk about this being a lightweight query engine. So, live query, no movement of data, and that actually means that you get the elasticity and speed from the data cloud. So lightning, when we talk about big data, we're talking about scarily big data, and maybe I think what we'll probably do is demonstrate further down the line just quite how big those rows and that data can be. Right, I'm going to jump to another couple of questions here. Vizlib Live only supports Snowflake or any other data sources? I know we covered it, Michael, but Gajapthi has asked that question.
So currently we also have Google BigQuery and Dremio. More to come probably in the future. So, but currently those are the three: Snowflake, Google BigQuery, and Dremio.
Yeah.
That's it.
Does the Vizlib Live data frame auto reload when there's new or updated data into Snowflake? So how does that work? If we need real data, how does that work, Michael?
Currently, the Vizlib Live extension don't support sort of timed updates or getting updated data automatically. The functionality is actually there behind the scenes, so it's something that we could very easily add, but currently no. But yeah. In the
and
future.
I think one of the reasons I wanted to ask that is to remind everyone, we are a product company. You decide our roadmap, so that never changes. We've got a new product, just like our other products, our other extensions. Let us know what's important to you guys. We build for our customer. It's something that we infuse across the way that that Vizlib operates. Is in our DNA. I'm not sure if I understand correctly. Is it mandatory to set up the data and charts in a Strato first and to embed them in the Qlik Sense app?
Yeah. So yes. Do you need to create the object? Yeah, yes, we need to create them in Strato first. So you actually have to go through Strato to be able to create the object. We use that as our editor, so to speak, for this. So yes. Otherwise, we would have to build that whole product into the extension, which just wouldn't be feasible. So no, you have to go through Strato to do that.
Right, we got either some finance people or some people that care really about making sure that they can that we can deploy this across the organization. Magnus, amongst other people, asked this kind of question, but Magnus asked specifically, what's the license model, given we need Vizlib Live and a Strato, same for other extensions per user?
So there's only going to be one of them. So what we call this is more or less up to you, to be honest. But what you're really paying for is the Strato editor bit. That can be as it's called Vizlib Live, or it can be called a Strato, but essentially that's what you're paying for. The extension is available for, we should have said this, probably haven't yet, but the extensions are available now in your user portal, so you can download it for free. There's also a free trial on Strato, so you can get up and running with this without any cost at all right now to try it out. Up to 5 users, you can do whatever you want and try it and see if it works for your use case. So you only pay for one, you don't pay for both.
Yeah, best of both worlds, Michael. So great. Stephen, nice to see you join, by the way. Stephen with a double E, compatible with Qlik Cloud. I know we covered it, but that's absolutely key. Kadir asks, are we going to support Oracle databases in the future?
Not impossible. I mean, with the technology behind this is SQL based, so it's definitely not impossible. It's not, as far as I know, not on our immediate roadmap. What we're looking for is more the cloud databases and database, those types of capabilities where perhaps Oracle is not the first one we think of, but technically possible, not on the near roadmap.
Yeah, I agree with that actually, Michael. In the actually the real focus, and when we when we look at those use cases, really what we want to be supporting are people on that journey to cloud and data clouds. So kind of those ones that we've mentioned as well. Right. Thanks for the demo. Quick question regarding connecting to BigQuery. What's the difference between using Vizlib Live and currently using BigQuery a BigQuery connection? I'm going to rephrase that. What's the difference?
But I think I get it. I think I get it. At least I'm going to guess what the question is, or what I think the question is. So normally, if you would connect to BigQuery with Qlik today, you would load the data through the load script, and you would load the data into Qlik, which is still perfectly possible. The advantage here is that you would read the data directly from Google BigQuery. So instead of actually loading it through the load script or reloading Qlik, you'd get the live data from Google BigQuery. And depending on your use case, one of them might be valid. This goes back again to the balancing of where you want to calculate your data in terms of do you really need the most recent data, do you want to balance the cost and have some of the data reside in Qlik and analyze it there? So yeah, I think that answers that question. Or did you have a different take on that, Al?
No, not at all. And actually, I think the question was written quite well, but I put a comma in the wrong place. So there you go. I think now this is from Anonymous, but the way this question was written, I like this one. I believe that the Anonymous, so I can't see the name, is someone that's already maybe on a beta use, and it says we successfully tested with 6 billion rows. Michael, any comment on that? It's not a question, but any are you proud of that? What's your take there?
That's great. I guess Snowflake should be proud of that, right? It means that their engine works on their end. And that's great. That's exactly one of the use cases that we want to see. It's amazing. Where you could easily do that. Obviously, you could load 6 billion rows into Qlik as well. It might be use cases where that's a better solution, but this is exactly what we want to enable. Great.
Yeah. Lovely. Someone that seems to know a lot about our roadmap, actually, there's someone called Martin who said, coming in the future, Databricks, Microsoft Synapse. So again, or anything that supports SQL and is data hosted in the cloud. So of course, Martin there is our CEO. Thank you for that, Martin. What's the difference? Right, let's have a look. It's a question. There's lots of questions coming in, so they're jumping around. Joe W, good to see you on board. Reason for live refresh would be non-interactive use cases like emergency room, A&E, dashboarding, etc. And then he's saying hi, everybody. Would you agree with that, Michael?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's a really good one. We get that, and that's one of the things that we've been looking at. We already have that type of functionality almost, so it's definitely something that we could do if we see lots of requests for that or customers that want to do it. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Stefan asks, so live, and by the way, Stefan, thank you very much for putting an exclamation mark after live, is live on the data. When something changes or adds in Snowflake while I'm surfing the app, the values will be adjusted?
Yeah, they will update as soon as we do a query towards the database, which means that currently the way it's implemented is that when you do a new filter, it will query for new data. So but it won't automatically change it unless you sort of touch something in the app. But whenever you touch something, yeah, it will update. It will be live in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah. From Anonymous, will the trial have a watermark? Actually, I'm going to answer this, Michael. I've let you answer everything, and I've known the answer. But to Anonymous, there is no watermark. Vizlib Live, you can go and get it right now. If you go to the portal right now, I think what was very interesting is we saw a huge uptake in since when we've been promoting the launch. We've already seen a huge uptake in people actually downloading Live. So it's there. Please go and have a look at that. You can grab it for many users, Anonymous, and they won't have a watermark on the Vizlib Live. I got another question. Can you blend? Now I think you touched it. Can you blend Qlik data or Qlik charts, and can you blend live charts from different data clouds in the same app?
Yes.
I'm glad someone asked that, because actually we're very proud about, I think, Michael.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, that's possible. The way that we do it is that we combine it all through Qlik. So whatever you have in Qlik to connect all that, you could actually get multiple data sources on the same sheet in Qlik. Not sure there's a lot of those use cases, but it's a really cool one where you could actually get data from both Google BigQuery and Snowflake, or for that matter, probably more useful, two different Snowflake databases, and combine the data from them based on perhaps a common field or a common key that's between them. So you could definitely do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this. By the way, we will take questions until people stop asking us questions. We put 30 minutes in your diary, but here, and if you guys need to go, we're going to send you a recording, but we'll continue. I don't know about you, Michael. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, let's go for a few more minutes.
Yeah. Awesome work. Love it. Exclamation mark. I was wondering whether it works in Qlik Cloud, and also if I can still export sheets and objects if Vizlib Live is used.
So we're a bit limited on the export so far. That's one of the limitations. Definitely some more to come in that area.
Yeah. Talk to me though, and because I think the question was alluding to this journey to cloud. So maybe starting in Qlik Enterprise as organizations go to cloud. How does that, that part? Now I know it's a leading question, Michael, but could you just give us a quick update on maybe someone looking at that journey to Qlik Cloud or Qlik Saas?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we've answered that a little bit already, right? But we do have this working for Qlik Saas and Qlik Cloud as well. So that will work. And it is that whole journey where we're moving more data to the cloud and inside the cloud, where we think that you will want to combine that with the current Qlik data. So yeah, definitely want to help you support that.
Yeah. Okay, and good answer there. How is security managed? Is there integration, Active Directory, row-level security? Do you want to answer that one, Michael? Do you want me to?
Yeah, so we're following the security of Snowflake or whatever source is behind that. So it's separate security for now. We're not integrating them too closely together. So that means that you shouldn't be able to access anything that you can't access, but you will have to log into to the different data sources that you want to access.
Yeah. I think that's quite interesting, because actually so we were on a call with some industry analysts, and we were actually looking at some of their research around the hot topic is around data management and data governance. And interestingly, by not touching it, by not replicating, by not moving the data, actually we support it being done well once without the data silos that you can have in other areas. So I think that's also key. Are there limitations to connect data live, number of fields, etc.?
So yeah, there is a relatively big number. It depends actually on the length of the URL, because we're sort of attaching the selections to the URL. So if you have a very large number of selections that you want to do, then at some point there is going to be a limitation on just the selections, but not the number of fields, and not sort of so it's a relatively big limitation. But yeah, there's going to be a limitation somewhere. Exactly how big that is, I think it's 2 megabytes, which is the maximum size of a URL, if I remember correctly. So there is a limitation, but then probably you should be able to work your way around that by making smarter selections somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this. We're actually getting people that are pinging in, not with a question, Michael, but just excited with what they look. And we've shared excitement about this product. We love the best. Everyone loves the best of both worlds. But we have we're finishing with an exclamation mark from a Martin. Mixed BigQuery, Snowflake, Postgres, live data, all in one interactive view in Qlik with a big exclamation mark. So again, we love that as well, and it's something that we feel brings that best of both worlds. So absolutely great. Huge being able to leave sensitive data without having to stage it in Qlik. Great for data governance. So actually, I didn't see that when I made the. We don't manage data governance. We believe that should happen in other places, but we support it by not moving it, and that's absolutely great. So anonymous, again, lots of these comments are coming in with an exclamation mark, so we can see the excitement there. Congratulations is another one. I think we're coming to the end. We'll continue to answer as long as you guys are here and want to continue want to ask questions. Congratulations, guys. This is from Angelica. It's amazing to see how two worlds can work together. Well done.
Thank you, Angelica.
Yes. Right, kind of from me. Look, as I've mentioned, you can go to Vizlib. You can go to your portal right now and download Vizlib Live. That will trigger an email that will come to you with help to get started. They'll also on that in that email be a link where you can go and look at all of the other steps and processes to get going, including a link to where you can download the Strata licenses, which again are free for 5 users. I think at that point, can I click into? At that point, I think the next thing is really about support and getting going. I think we get excited about products, but products that aren't used, well, I think we can just stop there. Right? We want you guys. We think this is really cool. We think this is game changing. Actually, we think it can support you. We can give. I'm not going to say best of both worlds, but I suppose I just have. But getting started with Vizlib Live. So in February, we're going to do a snackable. I know lots of people come to the snackables. We do them for 15 minutes. We're going to show you how to get going. We have all the ways that we normally support you with the extensions. I've just talked about the pages, but we also, if you get stuck, we'll give you some hands-on, one-on-one. If you get stuck with anything, we'll give you some one-on-one support. Michael, I've not talked to you about this yet, but it was something that we fixed today. So again, if for any reason you guys get stuck, let us know. This upcoming snackable, we don't know the date yet, but we will send it out and make sure that everyone that's attended today will get an invite. 3 reasons to attend. The recap: why we created Vizlib Live and why we think you guys need it. So those use cases, tips and tricks, and then we'll invite Michael back on for a hands-on masterclass. But at that point, Michael, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate that. I like to finish with this. The most important people that joined us today are you. So you got any questions, let us know. Wherever you are in the day, if you're in Europe, it's towards the end of your day. If you're in the US and you're just waking up, trust you enjoy a great day. Let us know if we can help.